Welcome to Hangin With Hal, a show about people who are competitive with their barbecue skills. As a fellow competitor and owner of Charcoal and More, I interview my guests to get their best stories and favorite failings to learn what makes them great competitors and great people.
Let's start. We're going to start with the 912.
Okay, well, when we started,
when we introduce ourselves,
we're starting, and I thought we did introduce before we do the 922.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to talk with Kent and Rachel of Continental BBQ, Charlie, Jackey, and Dennis Cheatham of Blue Chip BBQ, and Mark Bowman of WeQ for You. These are, if you have not heard their names in the barbecue world, you have probably been out of the loop. These are all great teams, all friends of mine. Looking forward to spending some time with them. So as we do in the morning of barbecue contest, let's all do a 922 shot. So Ken, you know the official wording of the
putting right on the spot.
I always mess this thing up.
Right. And so I don't know it at all. I just know somebody who knows it. So let's go with you.
I know pieces and parts of it. So let's offer it up to fire and smoke, especially that of hickory and oak. May your pork be moist, may your ribs be tender, and let's all hope we survive last night's bender. Let's all cook with love and never with rage, and may one of us here be the last son of a brisket on stage.
Hey, here.
I thought we'd skip that spot.
Oh, well.
So
I got to do the whole thing.
So do we know why there was a 922? Did it was a person that, I mean, somebody had to write that, obviously.
That one was written by...
I don't know who that was written by.
It was originally Tom McIntosh.
Yeah, I hear T-Mac saying that one quite a bit.
T-Mac says it all the time.
I know some different versions of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that
but
one a lot.
I'm sure it was probably around a lot longer.
When did 922 start?
Yeah, do we know anything about
the different lore that you hear about it? It's all over the place. But
Yeah, that's what
it was more of the... that was the time in the morning where people weren't doing anything. It was an odd time in between the 9 o'clock alarms going off and the 9:30 alarms going off. And
a little bit of free
the
time.
9:15 alarms going off. It's the free time in between where you can quick get together, say good luck, guys. Everybody have a quick shot.
People don't need a whole lot of excuses.
No.
Especially our friends down there in Florida.
Yeah, we're incorrigible.
Well, Florida has a 9 o'clock. And then
8
Michigan...
9 o'clock.
No, his is 9. And then Michigan does a... Is it Michigan or Chicago that does a 922 the night before?
Oh, really?
On Friday night? Yeah, there's a 922 on Friday night.
Don't you have the Alabama 7
The Alabama has 8 o'clock beer or something.
Okay,
whatever it is.
Yeah. And we did
Everybody's got their own different
everybody
things.
has... It just depends on what region of the country that you're in. And then some people, like we went over to... when we were in South Carolina and North Carolina, we said we do like 922s. Nobody really knows what that is. So depending on where you are, people don't even know what it is.
Well, there you
Or
go.
you do the charcoal more 1022.
Yeah,
we're
we
all
did.
busy
Yeah,
at 922.
right. I was going to say, we started
somewhere around
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Or you do the 922 and the 1022. So
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, well, I was always, I think, we
all
decided.
about drinking.
That's right. I think I'd always somehow miss the 922, so that's why we decided. I think we'd do the 1022, and it worked for us, and whoever else decided to show up. I know we all did it, but sometimes we had a straggler that also missed the 922. So anyway.
We're all always at the same contest anyway.
That's
that's
generally how it works.
Most
That's
of the
right.
time, all in line.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
I know y'all, but I don't think that our audience knows who you are. So let's go around the table and just introduce yourself. And I guess one of the things I'd like to know is, and this is some of those of us have to reach a little farther back than others, was when did you go from, I make really good barbecue in my backyard, or my parents did, or a friend did, or something. I'm going to go I'm going to go be a professional barbecue maker. I'm going to go compete in contests and see and see what I can do. I remember, for me, I'm curious about you guys. Whoever wants to start can start.
Well, before we start, give us your story.
Well, my story was in about 2010, there was a non-sanctioned KCBS contest in Jeffersonville, Indiana. And there was, I don't know, remember, it's been too long, how many teams? Several. I entered, and I think I finished mid-pack. So next year, I brought my green egg back with in the back of my truck that I figured the green egg was so sealed up that it really wouldn't have a problem, but I didn't realize it's not quite as sealed up as it should have been. So by the time I got there, it was 1,000 degrees my egg, and I had to somehow move it off the back of my truck onto the stand to cook the barbecue. Anyway, I won. And I said, I can do this. And so then we went and we cooked in a few backyard competitions. And we did okay. And then we decided we wanted to cook Jasper, Indiana, which was a close, the Strassenfest, yeah. And we wanted to, but they didn't have a backyard division. So we had to go pro if we wanted to do it. And I said, well, we can go pro this one time and we'll go back to backyard. And then, what's his name from Charlestown?
Chuck
from Charlestown said, when you go pro, you can never go back to backyard. That is the rule. Never. I went, really? Well, I still want to cook Jasper. So I cooked Jasper. And by the way, Mo Cason won brisket that day. I remember that from that. And I lost my car keys. So we had to ride back to Jasper that day to get the car. Anyway, so that's kind of how I ended up being pro. And we just kind of jumped in the deep end of the pool and said, hey, I guess we got to be pro. Let's just go do this. And that's kind of how I got.
That's where it started.
Yeah, that's how it all started. And I had to have something to do. I used to be the president of the marching band, and that was an all-consuming thing for about 40 years from both my children. I went through marching band in high school, and I had to have something to do. I was all wound up,
Yep.
So let's do barbecue. Why not? Good. And I, of course, obviously, we didn't know. Nobody here, this whole room knew each other at that point in time, and so it's been. And another thing, before I start passing this on, one thing for me with competition barbecue is the social aspect of it. We meet a lot of people there on the road, and some people are strictly social. Some people are strictly, if I don't win, I'm mad. I tend to be more leaning towards the social. I'm not totally social. I like to win. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not there to be straight social. I do my very best and expect things out of it. So that's kind of me. So anyone else, I'm ready to shut up and let somebody else talk.
Well, Charlie's pointing my direction, so I guess
I'm the band leader.
You're the band leader.
Yeah, I'm band leader.
All right.
Give you some more time to do some more.
Yeah, have a little
fireball over there,
a
Charlie.
little Fireball there.
We usually don't drink this stuff, but it's not made by Jim Beam.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I know.
I'll drink it.
It's what was in the closet. Okay.
It's what was there.
Yeah. Sometimes we have to do it. Sometimes it's kind of like barbecue cooks.
Yeah, you have to improvise with what you
got to
have.
improvise with what you got.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, I noticed that it's.
It's gone.
I think Mark's is gone, and you had a couple
Okay.
late bloomers on the over there, and Dennis.
Rachel.
He did the token
everybody
taste.
knows I'm not a big drinker anyway,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
well,
I'll take another shot just to calm you guys down.
all right.
We appreciate you being a team player,
It's kind
Dennis.
of weird that you took
There
the
you
first
go.
one. Kind of embarrassing.
You're embarrassing the team.
Well, if my wife sees this or hears about this,
But
she'll
she'll
never
never
hit
see.
the fan.
Nobody's ever going to see this.
No, I don't think so.
She's
I don't
not
think
going to
so.
see it.
No, we would never tell her. either.
So I'm going to be the band director assistant here.
Oh,
Like
no, you guys are
Kent.
still pointing at me. All right.
Well, this doesn't include me.
Yeah,
So.
well,
You better
the
start.
history with us. You said we all started because we thought we made great back barbecue in our backyards.
Right.
We never did.
We never did. We started
Really?
in the opposite
No.
direction. Mine actually started. We started from the other side of the table. We started as from the judge's perspective because my dad wanted to. He saw something on TV.
No, he's not Pitmasters.
I don't know if it's Pitmasters or not.
I
It
think
may
it
have
was.
been,
I
but
think he was talking
whatever
about
it was, he calls me and says, hey, I found this thing where, and I'm going to go become a certified barbecue judge. I'm going to go take a class, and we're going to do that, and I'm going to go out and judge barbecue. And I'm sitting there going, sounds like a good project for you to do. You're, for the most part, semi-retired at this point. You and Mom can go travel around and go to these different contests and stay in the camper and see these small towns and have fun doing this. And I said, well, that sounds like a fun thing. Where are you going to do this? Where do you have to go? And, well, there's a class in Bean Blossom, Indiana. And I said, well, where's Bean Blossom?
Yeah, that's the
by
first
way?
question I'd ask.
And he tells me, I said, that's not too far away. But I just dropped it at that point. And a couple of days later, Mom calls me and says, hey, Dad was saying something about this barbecue class. And I said, yeah, he told me about it. I think you need to go do that with him. And he goes, that's Father's Day weekend. That'd be a good thing for you guys to do as a father-son Father's Day weekend thing. I said, all right, that's fine. She kind of had to twist my arm, honestly. But I said, that's fine. I'll go do it. And so we went and did the class. And I said, I could go judge a few contests that are local around here. Fast forward a year and a half, we're driving all over the Midwest going to these contests, judging barbecue everywhere. And with that came long drives home. And, as after we left a lot of these, we're sitting there talking. And, my background prior to getting into the barbecue world, we used to show registered livestock on a national basis, and we were pretty darn competitive. I mean, we had national championships. And so that competitive spirit was still down in me. And I'm like, you know what? We can do just as good as what these guys out here are doing.
That's what I was going to ask you. I mean, as you got to taste this stuff, you're going, we can do this.
Yeah, we can do this. And granted, like I said, neither one of us had a smoker. I mean, I used to do a little bit back in college, but
smoke what?
No. It was strictly all pork.
Your kids disclaimer.
No, we have never.
We've never.
Actually, we have been very honest about the fact.
We've never.
Yeah. But he,
Bill and Hillary.
I did not.
I have. Never mind.
Oh, where's the cigar?
Yeah. But, knowing my dad, he was like, oh, yeah, I think we can do this. Yeah. And again, we aren't buying anything because he does a lot of metal fabrication, does a lot of welding and just tinkering around more than anything else. He goes, I can build it. So he built our first little cabinet smoker, and we didn't take any classes. We bought some stuff, but made a lot of what we were going to do, and went to our first contest and finished.
Where was that?
Mount
Liberty?
Carmel?
No. Very first was Liberty. Middle to the end of the trip pack and everything. Didn't finish DAL anywhere, so we were like, we did all right. But again, we weren't going into it thinking we were going to win. We went into it going, we kind of know what we're doing. We can prepare decent stuff. And so we, after that, spent the rest of the summer practicing a little bit more and went to Mount Carmel, Illinois for our second contest and ended up second in ribs and eighth in pork and seventh or eighth overall. And we're like, hey, we got this.
You're a contender.
We can do this.
We're a contender.
We can contend. And from there, we got our butts handed to us a couple more times. And we decided, well, we better go out and learn a little bit more. And all the time that we're doing all this judging, Rachel's sitting at home and stuck with the kids.
Prior to Mount Carmel, because the year that they started was 2008. So that's the year that Morgan was born. So she was born in May. Then they went to take this class at Father's Day. And for the first 6 months, 9 months, they're going off all over the place to judge. And I'm sitting at home with a newborn going, what the heck am I doing here? This really sucks. And then he comes home with this little plastic bag and says, here, you need to try this. I'm like, I won't eat that. Yeah, you just need to try it. It's a bunny muscle that we had, or it's a piece of pork, or it's a piece of brisket. It was really good. It was the best thing I said, I don't want it. And for months and months and months, we had these little plastic bags in our freezer of leftover pork and leftover brisket and stuff. And we'd say, okay, it was all right. Okay, well, we'll put this in the freezer. We'll do something with it. We never did anything with it. It just sat there.
Yeah, it didn't take long, and we stopped.
So, anyways, he stopped bringing it home, and I decided that I was tired of staying at home. So then Pork Chop had a class over here at Northside, and I said, that's in my backyard. I can do this. I said, here's the baby. I'm going to take this class. So I took the class and got certified. So then when he went to compete or to judge, then I would judge or I wouldn't judge because I can't judge, but I would table captain or volunteer or something like that, and they would cook. So Mount Carmel, I volunteered. I was a table captain at Mount Carmel. And so by Mount Carmel, I was judging. I was doing stuff. And I was trying to work towards my master's, but that didn't happen.
No, we got into the rep side of things in the interim time there.
Sure.
So we started the cooking, and then his dad kind of, after a while,
fell off, ended
out. So then he said he needed another team member. So
I twisted your arm.
I've heard the judges refer to the cooking portion of the contest as the dark side. So is that safe to say you've kind of got to the dark side or no?
No, I don't think. I think it was more just because he was just kind of like, well, why can't we do this too? Type thing. So they started cooking. I mean, truthfully, our cooks in the first, maybe 10 years or so, we cooked maybe once a year,
Once,
if that.
maybe twice. There were several years that we
there
really.
was, yeah, there were some. So when we started cooking and we cooked 5 contests in 1 year, the first year that actually I started cooking,
Yeah.
we doubled our entire cooks just in 1 year. I mean, that was
a big deal, wasn't it? I bet you
we
it was.
were more judging than we were cooking.
Sure.
And I mean, in my judging process, I got to cook with ZZQ, which was really, I cooked with him to get my master's judge certification. And then at the time that I was getting my 30 to get master's, we actually were going through rep training at the same time to become reps. So then I kind of was like, well, reps trumped masters, so it doesn't really matter at that point.
Sure.
So I didn't. I'm one judge away from my master's.
No, you got your own.
I got it, but in order to take the test and get the certification,
never did the
I
test.
haven't judged recently, so I would have to judge one more contest.
There you go.
Recently to go back and do the test.
Well, I
really,
expect you, if you decide to do that, to look at the all the new is audio or video or whatever we're supposed to be doing.
no.
Oh,
It's
that's
all
for
online.
steak.
Well, no,
the
Jacob.
Jacob.
Jacob
Yeah,
program.
yeah,
Right,
Actually,
Jacob
I will tell you, I'm happy that they went with that Jacob and
Good.
going through it, because I went through I went through the whole steak program. I went through part of the new barbecue program. I think it's going to be good because it really is. For the judges that are taking it, it is trying to reset a level field of what we're judging based on. And it really, the way I like that they explained in getting rid of the 3s and 4s, they basically are saying a 9 is an A, an 8 is a B. And they associate it to grades in school. And,
Sure.
and once, for a lot of people, that made a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Is this an A? Is this a B? Is this a C?
Versus excellent or really
Right.
good
Yeah,
or kind of
exactly.
good. Or
And they just did that as a correlation, but it made it really click with a lot of people.
Good.
Again, it's as with everybody, we all learn differently. And that sunk in with me. I was like, is this an A or is this a B? And that made sense.
Well,
Yeah.
also, I think we've got judges out there that, took a touching class 10 years ago that might need a little refresher course to go back and say, here's the parameters. And we all forget. I mean, we all kind of get locked in our way of doing things, and it may be right or may be wrong. But I think a refresher course helps.
I don't even
Yeah.
know if it's the 10-year-old judges. Some of it's the
Sure.
15 and 20-year-old judges
Sure.
that they took it so long ago, and
And the different ways it's been taught.
yeah,
over the
there's
years.
been so many
Right.
different
So many
methods,
different methods.
and not only
Who did
just
your class? Do you remember who it was?
I was at that class. I can't remember who it
I
was.
can't either.
No.
Okay.
But that was those 20-year-old judges or 20-year judges are the ones that when burnt ends was a thing.
Yeah.
Nowadays, those burnt ends is not made out of Wagyu. You're not rendering them down, and we all know they're not going back to the.
But a
that.
burnt end out of a prime or a choice is a completely different thing out
Is
of a
good-
Wagyu.
is easier to.
It's easier to cook, right? That's what they were
Yeah,
comparing it to,
we're
which
not
is
getting rid of
no.
the fat in the Wagyu.
right.
Thank
So I
God.
guess if you want to go by prime points
you can do
and
the
Wagyu
points.
flats,
You can
then
do
we
it,
do
yeah.
that.
We've done that.
A lot of teams do that.
Yeah,
Sure.
we've done it.
Really?
But screw it.
It's
No, don't.
too confusing for me.
It's easier just doing the flats and being done
That's
with
right.
it.
Yeah. Yep.
Points make really good burgers, don't they?
It may be.
They really do.
We don't do burn
And
ends
salami.
anyhow anymore.
No,
Yeah.
Salami makes good salami.
I can't think the
we
last.
haven't
I know
done
the last time
salami.
I turned
Did
them
you
in.
do it?
That was
You did
a
it,
Sam's
didn't
Club.
you?
So
All right.
Oh, we did summer sausage.
Well, we
Some
kind of know the
sauce,
last
some
time
sauce.
we turned them in too. We had a little incident with it. That's been
Yeah, that may come
years
up later
ago.
on.
Yeah, that may come up later on.
All right.
Heard about that.